United stand? This is your latest Manchester United news and transfer news as Manchester United call off a deal for Amrabat. Also, is Mason Mount on thin ice? A lot of interest around Mason Mount from Newcastle, Aston Villa and others. Would Man United seriously consider moving him on? And I think it's nonsense. We can talk about it. I think it's nonsense. But what is not nonsense is a lot of people still don't really understand what the role is for Mason Mount at Manchester United. And in effect, I suppose, why he was brought in. So we'll talk about this Amrabat deal being off. Man United have called it off, according to Fabrizio Romano. The end for Amrabat. Also Mason Mount. Lots of interest in him. You could say interest is mounting in Mason Mount, but I can't see Man United doing anything about that. I really, really can't. Also, a bit of an update on Ivan Toney. Thomas Frank's been talking about that. Antony's agents had something to say about him as well. Apparently, Pellistri will be leaving Manchester United as well. And Rabiot talks are ongoing with us and a few other clubs. Lots to get into and all your questions as well. Don't know why that's behind me. In fact, I think I do know why that's behind me. Got a special guest hopefully going to come on in a few minutes as well. Don't get too excited. Well, it'd be nice. You helped name it. So you might be able to figure out who that is as well. Lots to get into on the show. Want to start off with the transfer stuff of always, but of course we're sponsored by Manscaped. Manscaped, if you don't know what it is, trim the grass to make the yard look bigger with the lawn mower. Fantastic bit of kit. It's got a light on it for a more precise shave. And yeah, absolutely fantastic. You can get 20% off and free worldwide shipping for this little beauty. Free worldwide shipping, 20% off with the code TUS. They've also got the weed whacker for your nose. They've got the handyman where you can just shave on the go. That battery's ready to go. Don't get too excited, Karen, when you hear this. I hope Karen's not watching. And also they've got the beard trimmer, which is fantastic. I use this. It's got 11 different lengths on it. It's powerful. It really is the creme de la creme of shaving. Very, very quick. Check it out. 20% off. Free worldwide shipping. Manscaped's fantastic. Check it out. Thank you very much to Manscaped. Right, let's get into the show then. So this is the latest we've got. Obviously, I did the video this afternoon on McTominay, so I don't really want to talk about that massively at the start of the show. But Manchester United, according to Fabrizio Romano, have informed Fiorentina they will not trigger the €20 million buy option for Safyan Amrabat. Man United remain interested in Amrabat and willing to discuss different conditions because Ten Hag likes him, but there's also interest from other clubs. So look, the door may well have been left open, but effectively what Man United have said is we took him on loan for a year. I think we paid €10 million for that loan, and there is an option to buy him for €20 million now, which would make it a €30 million deal altogether. United don't want to pay €20 million for Amrabat, and they're absolutely correct. He's got 1 year left on his deal. He didn't have a particularly good loan. And if they want to sell Amrabat with 1 year left on his contract, he's not worth €20 million. He's worth about 15 to 12 million euros, probably about £10 million. So I think that Man United have made the right decision here. It doesn't necessarily mean that he will not be a Man United player this summer, but I think we're right, in my opinion, about that. Fabrizio said Mount is not for sale, says Context 777. Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, we'll talk about it, Context 77. And it's not the Fabrizio Romano show. He's on tomorrow. It's the United Stand Sunday night show, and we'll talk about what we want to talk about, Context. All right. Next time you're running the show, I won't fucking do it. All right. Keep it. Just I've told you. If I've told you once, I've told you 100 times. Keep your gob shut about the running order of this show. You know, when it's Kev. Let Kev, you know, maybe you can manipulate him, but you're not manipulating this show. Now get back in your box and do one. On a serious note, that was just a bit of a joke. But seriously, we're talking about Amrabat. I think with relation to Amrabat, it's a weird one. He's waiting for Man United, but he's not really waiting for Man United because there's other clubs that want him as well. But Man United cannot be paying €20 million for Amrabat. That just can't happen. So I think what happens here is the Agate deal steps forward and we just wait and see what happens with Amrabat. And I think if somebody wants to pay silly money for him, then they may well end up getting him. It's as simple as that. Talking about fan interference, by the way, got a very, very good message from somebody today. Don't know whether they wanted a shout out or not, so they just said, could you bring it into the show? The role of George Mendes in this summer transfer window should not be misunderstood, was what the message was. And I don't disagree with this. So basically what they're saying is George Mendes is a super agent. He used to be an agent for David De Gea and Cristiano Ronaldo. He's basically the guy who fixes things now. And a lot of people are saying that what's happening with George Mendes is that basically he is the new Mino Raiola, in the sense that he is controlling the European transfer market. He basically has had his fingers in a lot of pies, and what he's doing is he told PSG. Apparently, this might be theory, might be true, but basically he's played all the clubs to suit himself because he'll get a fee. So basically, you tell Man United to go for Agate, which he's involved in, and Man United buy Agate from PSG, which leaves the road clear for PSG to go for João Neves, which he's involved in, and he also therefore tells PSG not to go for Lenny Yoro because so Man United can get Lenny Yoro, which he's also involved in. So get your head around it, but basically there's a bit of a love triangle going on here between George Mendes, PSG and Man United. So we don't go for João Neves and they get João Neves. We take Agate, but they don't go for Lenny Yoro and we get Lenny Yoro. And George Mendes makes on all three deals. I mean, I don't think it's probably far wrong, if I'm being honest. You know, I have said to you a few times, what do we get out of not going for João Neves, who was one of our number one targets? What are PSG doing for us? But when you think about it like that, George Mendes is involved in all three deals, Yoro, Agate and João Neves. And, you know, PSG were in for Yoro and he's French. So maybe they backed out of that. We back out of João Neves. We get Agate. Everybody's happy. But certainly keep an eye on George Mendes. We said that in May. Whether he's involved in other clubs or anything like that, he was certainly a clever relationship that Ineos incorporated into their summer transfer plans very, very early. And he may well be doing stuff for other clubs, but with regards to Manchester United, we're the only club that's doing a hell of a lot at the moment. Outdoor Adventures says, nice shirt. Yeah, I mean, we've had this out for a while now. It's just not been that warm to wear it. You can get it in the hoodie as well, which I've asked for a white one. But yeah, it is nice. And also we've got these. This is what I was going to say. We've got these as well now. Talking about Yoro. Brand new design out. There you go. That's in the white. You can get it in different colours as well. I quite like the background pattern on it as well, like you see behind the Lenny and stuff like that. So check those out on the United Stand Shopify website if you're interested in that. Let's just talk about Mason Mount, but very, very quickly. I like to do this on shows now. You'll notice that I'll mention something that we're going to talk in a moment about, but it's not necessarily the next topic. So Antony's agent has spoken about the future of Antony. He says, I've seen reports about potential exit on loan. Antony's plan is clear. Manchester United. He wants to stay. He's only focused on Manchester United. We've already spoke about that with the club. I think this came out from, was it Mark Ogden or Rob Dawson? I'm pretty sure it was ESPN last week that Manchester United might look to loan Antony. I don't think that's the case. I mean, look, whether Antony can turn things around at Man United or not, I don't know. I've always been a big fan of his. But, well, I've always been, I wouldn't say a big fan. I was very excited when we signed him. He's certainly not lived up to what he was at Ajax. I was so excited about Antony. But, you know, if he can turn it around, that would be great. We'll talk about that, though. I want to talk about Mason Mount for a moment. I think this should be set with a bit of a poll, actually, because whilst there's a story, I think there's a reality. Got a bit of a guest coming on. She looks terrified, Seb. There she is. You might remember a couple of weeks ago, I said we were going to get a puppy, and we've got one. And you did name it, and its name is Scott McTominay. No. It's called Scotty. It's called Harry. No. It's not. It's called Lila, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. There she is. She might be making more appearances in the future, but she's just arrived this weekend. I think she likes it. She looks very relaxed.
Yeah.
Yeah, right at home. Go on then, take her away. Hold her properly. There you go. You hold her. There you go. Bye-bye, Lila. You got her? Yeah. She can walk out if she wants. Seb said it'd be nice for you all to see her. Seb's besotted. It'll be me walking her. But look, what I wanted to say about Mason Mount is, how would you phrase this? Do you think Mount will be a success at United? Yes or no? I think that's the more relevant question here, because basically there's a story going around today, and I don't even know the source of it. I've not even bothered to look because I don't really care. It could be talk shit. It could be Slow Sports News. It could be, you know, some bitter journalist from MEN. Oh, who knows? But basically the story is that Aston Villa, Tottenham and Newcastle are all interested in Mason Mount if he becomes available. And look, I don't need Fabrizio to tell me this. I don't need David Ornstein to tell me this. I don't think for 1 minute Man United are going to sell Mason Mount. And I don't want to see Mason Mount go. But what I will always acknowledge is my initial reaction when we bought him. Confusion. I don't really know what his role is at the club. And, it's nothing to do with Mason Mount. I said this about Jadon Sancho last year. And look, maybe Mason Mount, he played well yesterday. Maybe Mason Mount plays well on pre-season. But I don't know where he fits in the team. And I said it a year ago with Sancho. He played well in the number 10 role. But I was worried about that. A lot of you were going, he's going to be our number 10. And I was like, he's not going to be our number 10. It'll be Bruno. And lo and behold, it was Bruno. And I was like, if Sancho's going to be in this team, he doesn't need to be playing number 10 on the tour. He needs to be playing on the wing, winning his place, because he's playing in the Bruno role. And so he won't start. And lo and behold, Sancho had a good pre-season and then was nowhere near the first team. So I look at it with Mount and I go, well, yeah, he's doing all right. Went a bit tuned now. Well, yeah, he's doing all right. But I don't see where he fits into this team. I can't see it. Especially if you get Agate. Agate will play. Mainu can't be dropped. And hello, I'm Bruno at number 10. So I just don't know where Mason Mount fits into Manchester United. Do I think he'll be a success? Hard to say. Do I think he's up for sale? No. Do I understand why we bought him? Not yet. And that's basically what I think. I mean, JHP makes a good point. He says, I think Mason Mount is important to cover Bruno. He's a creative. We're not seeing him at his best just yet. I think you're right. But do you think Mason Mount is happy to be understudy to Bruno Fernandes? And also, Bruno Fernandes plays every bloody game as the captain. So you're probably the understudy for the worst possible player in the team, the captain who's never injured, who always wants to play. So I don't know that he'll get a lot of game time playing like that. Again, I think we bought Mason Mount because the previous season, Casemiro was brilliant and Eriksen didn't really have the legs. And I think Ten Hag's plan was to go Casemiro, Mount and Bruno. And then our midfield just got blown apart last season and he realised you can't really play two attacking midfielders and Casemiro. It won't work. So maybe if we ever fix the holding midfielder and we push the defensive lineup, maybe we could see Agate, Mount and Bruno with Mainu getting a bit of rotation. But I think it's a massive season for Mason Mount. And I hope he is going to be a success. But the biggest thing he's got to do is stay fit. And even now, I can see people in the chat saying he's better than Bruno, sell Bruno. And I'm like, to this day, I still don't understand a United fan who doesn't appreciate Bruno Fernandes, but each to their own. But what I will say is, I would never sell Bruno Fernandes because I've got Mason Mount. There's absolutely no point in that. It doesn't make any sense because Mason Mount was injured for most of last season, so it just wouldn't make any sense. Rub says, hi all, I know Mark does not like politics here in the channel, but please pray for innocent students protesting in Bangladesh. They are being oppressed, says Rub. There you go. Talking about politics, Themo says, do you think Avram Glazer could replace Biden? Ian says, evening Mark, hope all is well. I'm looking forward to United Stand covering of the new season. You and your team do an outstanding job, says Ian. Thank you very much. Jackie Boy says he's a clever and manipulative businessman. What, me? Or maybe George Mendes. Nice shirt, says Outdoor Adventures. And Homelander Bridge, says Marvellous. And Jadon Sancho Bridge, says Jackie Boy. I think people are just throwing out stuff like that. Why the early show, Mark? Appreciate you, Mark. Legend. I sometimes do the Sunday night show at 7 o'clock because I like to watch a film on a Sunday night. So, yeah. Ginge says Mount is terrible. And I don't know why people are saying 7 o'clock show what happened. I literally said to you this morning and on the afternoon show, 7 o'clock on a Sunday tonight. So I did tell you. It's really interesting on the poll. Will Mason Mount be a success at Manchester United? 52% yes, 48% no. We'll keep that going. Tyrese says, my only worry this season is how Ten Hag manages our attacking players. Who starts and who doesn't. But glad that there's depth and the positions. Look, I wasn't going to mention this. I want to talk about something else. We've spoken about Amrabat leaving. We've spoken about Mason Mount and what a big season it is for him. I want to talk about these Rabiot talks. I want to talk about what's been said about Tony and whether we bring another striker in. But when you look at Manchester United, and you've got to take a leap of faith a little bit here. Anana, we probably do need a better backup. Delo, if Wan-Bissaka goes, we need another right back. Left back, we know we need a left back. Luke Shaw. Centre backs, Evans, Yoro, Martinez, De Ligt, and maybe Lindelof, Maguire, or a new signing. Into the midfield, Agate, Collier, Mainu, Mount, Bruno. I would bring Amrabat in or another midfielder and sell McTominay. If it's McTominay, it's McTominay. Wingers, Garnacho, Rashford, Ahmad, Antony, maybe Sancho, Xerxes, Højlund. That is getting towards a much better squad. It's not perfect, but from where we were last year, Rasmus the only striker all season, the midfield was bereft. The centre-back situation was non-existent. I think having more of a squad this season will help us out a lot, and I'm here for that. Here's a question for you, says Sean Turner with a very generous super chat. He says, with Ten Hag saying about McTominay, I think he's ahead of Mount in that 10 role. Mount has more chance challenging Jadon and Rashi, says Sean Turner. Well, this is what I mean. It's a great point by Sean. I don't know whether anybody saw the video this afternoon, but was talking about McTominay potentially staying. And I went through all the normal reasons why I think we should cash in. It's pure profits. He's a bench player. He doesn't really suit the way that we want to play. But on top of that, if he does stay, he's trusted. So you can see a scenario where, Mason Mount's job becomes even more difficult because in the last 20 minutes, he's putting Scott McTominay on instead of Mason Mount. So, yeah, I mean, it's the big thing for me is not... I liked Mason Mount yesterday. He's got to stay fit till Christmas. If he gets another injury before Christmas, he's a flop. He can't have another injury before Christmas. I mean, he can have a knock. He can miss a week or two. But if he picks up another injury that keeps him out for 5 or 6 weeks, he's a flop. Like, he cannot have another injury. Last season was a write-off. So the big thing for me for Mason Mount is that he's actually fit for the start of the season and ready to go. The second thing is, where does he fit in when he is fit? Because a good pre-season means nothing. We've seen it before, pre-season Pirlo. He's got to stay fit. That's the big thing. And then he's got to get into the team. And Mason Mount wears the number 7. I don't agree with that. I think it was bloody stupid. I said this on the watch along yesterday. I'm surprised I didn't get clipped up for it because somebody could turn it into something out of context. But it's a bloody embarrassment that we gave Mason Mount the number 7 shirt. And look, I don't know whether Mason Mount demanded it. I don't know why he would have expected it, but whoever gave it to Mason Mount has got no concept at all of what Manchester United is. I thought those days had gone after Memphis, where we give it to a new signing. It's a complete and utter disrespect to the shirt that many of us actually hold in high esteem. It should be earned. It shouldn't be bloody given as an incentive to buy. And whether that was Ten Hag, Richard Arnold, John Murtagh, or whoever, that was a stupid thing to do. And that's got nothing to do with Mason Mount being a success or not. He never should have been given the number 7 shirt. David Beckham, Eric Cantona, George Best, the list goes on. Cristiano Ronaldo, Brian Robson. That shirt means something, and it might have had a bad 10 years. But you don't hand it out to new signings. It's stupid. But my point is, people in that football club need to understand what that shirt means. If you want Man United to be respected, then respect the number 7 shirt. Don't start bloody handing it out as an incentive for a new signing. I don't know why we did that. But the flip side to that coin is, our number 7 can't even get in the fucking team. It's all right I don't think we should be giving the number 7 to a new signing, but if you're going to give it to a new signing, please put him in the starting 11, because that number 7 shirt probably, I mean, I think last season, when I think about it, we probably saw more of, well, maybe not. That might be pushing it, Anthony Martial, but we definitely saw more of the bloody mascot at Old Trafford than we did of Mason, of the number 7 shirt. I mean, it's pitiful. We didn't even hardly see the number 7 shirt last season, did we? The most iconic Man United shirt, and we hardly bloody saw it. The number 7 can't be on the bench, is what I'm saying. Number 7 for Man United cannot be on the bench because a whole generation of young fans will lose what that shirt's all about, actually. I'm having a bloody rant here. We will lose what the number 7 shirt is about if we're not careful. And look, that's up to Man United. That's up to Sir Jim. That's up to Ineos. If they want that to happen, that's on them. But that number 7 shirt, you know, I've got pictures of Ronaldo. I've got a Beckham one up on my wall, and I rather look at them from behind. Now I know what I've just said sounds wrong, but what I mean is, I've got pictures of David Beckham with his shaved head, and it's from behind with the 7. I've got a Ronaldo one from behind with the 7. The 7 is so iconic. I'd rather look at the player from behind with the number 7 than from the front. So I know it's a minor thing to some, but the number 7 cannot be on the bench for Manchester United. It cannot be on the bench. And look, I think Garnacho should have it. You know, that's always been my feeling all last season. I think he should have it, but you can't take it. The trouble is, when you give it to somebody, it's hard to take it off them. And Mason Mount needs to have a good season and get in the first team so we can see that number 7 shirt. You know what? This is what I love about this community. We can just wander off into things. And it's a bloody joke that the number 7 at Man United is basically retired at the moment. We shouldn't have given it to Mount. We shouldn't have given it to him. But now it is with him. We need to get him in the bloody first team. We need that number 7. Is Scott McTominay for sale? Please say yes, says Daniel. You need to watch the video this afternoon, but in essence, Ten Hag has said he's not for sale. Scored 10 goals, plays for Scotland, good player. Some people think it might be Ten Hag putting him in the shop window because of, you know, saying, look, this is what he can do. I think Manchester United would be bloody stupid to turn down £25 million for Scott McTominay if somebody offers it. McTominay has never been a bench player and was always playing under every manager, says Sven. So you're saying that he has no ambition if he doesn't leave is wrong, says Sven. Mate, oh, God. I thought we'd got through Toxic Sunday. From Toxic Sunday to Twat Sunday. What are you talking about, Sven? Do I have to read that shit comment again? McTominay has never been a bench player and has always been playing under every manager. So you saying that he's no ambition if he doesn't leave is wrong. Oh, yeah. He's a fucking starter, mate, isn't he? He's the first name on the team sheet. What? Are you playing FIFA career mode or something? What are you doing? Scott McTominay's not a starter for Man United. He's not a bloody starter. He's a bench player. Most of the goals he scored was off the fucking bench. What are you talking? Even in an injury crisis, he was still on the bench a lot. He's not a starter. Where does he start then? Come on, Brain of Britain. Where does Scott McTominay start for Man United? I can't wait to hear this. When does he start for Man United then? Where does he start? Most of last season, Mainu, Casemiro, Bruno. So where does he start? Amrabat start. I know he started in the final. Yeah, but come on. We're not talking about every we're not talking about the last game. I know he finished the season quite strong and he played ahead of bloody Rasmus, didn't he? But I don't think you would class Scott McTominay as a starter for Manchester United. I really, really don't. He's a bench option. Hashtag Toxic Sunday, says Parker. Naveen, thanks for your super chat. IB as well. And also, what do you think is realistic dollars to receive for Lindelof, Scott and Casemiro? Well, I don't do dollars, JJ, unless you're paying me in dollars. But no, I think that in pounds, which is close to euros anyway, I would say Scott McTominay is worth £25 million with 1 year left on his contract. Victor Lindelof is worth about £8 million with 1 year left on his contract. And Casemiro is worth whatever Saudi Arabia will pay, because nobody is going to pay anything else for him. So I would say £30 million from Saudi. Any news on Bruno regarding the higher wage, says Mark? I mean, I don't want to talk about this, to be honest, but I will anyway. I think in relation to Bruno Fernandes, there is a story yet to be told. He is still on holiday. His agent was talking to other clubs, and there is still a conversation to be had about his wage. I completely agree with him. He's on £240,000 a week. Talking about Mason Mount, he's on 10 grand a week more. Talking about Casemiro, he's on at least 60 grand a week more. Rashford's on at least 60 grand a week more. Sancho's on at least 60 grand a week more. So if you're Bruno Fernandes, the captain of the team, the most important player in the dressing room, you've got every right to knock on the door and say, hold on a minute, what the fuck's going on? Like, you know, I know you might say there's no money for new contracts, but do you really want to be pissing me off? Like, what, you know, it's not fair. Whether it leads to anything or not, we'll have to wait and see. McTominay is sending his own super chats under the name Sven. You know what, Magic? I've never thought of it like that. Look, I know some players watch, so, you know, maybe, no, he wouldn't do that. He's too busy down the gym working on his six-pack. Hi, Mark. Any news? I've done that one. What do you think is... I've done that one. I've done that one as well. Want to move on. Anyway, want to move on. Lots to get into on the show tonight, of course. Let me talk to you about Pellistri. I want to talk about this. I mean, the great thing about the show tonight, it's almost like the deeper stuff. I mean, I could easily have done another video about De Ligt or Ugarte like everybody else does, but I think we're better than that as a community, and I think we're more than capable of talking about other niche areas that are going on. None more so than Pellistri, who is a fan favourite of this community. We all like Pellistri. He's probably the most creative right winger we've got, although Ahmad's probably given him a bit of a run for the money now. As somebody said this morning, the only actual winger we've got that starts for his country. And Uruguay did very, very well in the Copa America with Ugarte. So, but Pellistri has apparently been approached by Panathinaikos in the Greek league who want to sign him. Man United are happy to negotiate, but apparently Pellistri doesn't really feel that that's the right fit for him. I think what we know is going to happen with Pellistri is that we're going to sell him. Whether we want that to happen or not, we are going to. There are and is a conversation to be had because... I mean, honestly, Antony or Pellistri, who's the better right winger? Let the chat, let the people not watching live commence. I mean, honestly, it's a conversation point. Who is the better right winger for Manchester United, Antony or Pellistri? There is an argument to be had there, but what we do know for a fact is that in relation to who will be part of the team next season and who won't be part of the team next season, Antony will, Pellistri won't. Every manager has their own agenda, I suppose. Every manager has a player that they like that you don't like, and a player that you like that a manager doesn't like. It happened with Mourinho. It happened with Sir Alex sometimes. It certainly happened with Ollie. It happens. And with Ten Hag, I've said this to you for 18 months. He doesn't like Pellistri as a player for some reason. I don't think he dislikes him as a footballer or a person at all. He just isn't taken on Pellistri. And I think it's probably because he wants his wingers to invert, doesn't he? You know, Ahmad inverts with his left foot. Antony inverts with his left foot. Rashford inverts with his right foot. So Pellistri is an old-fashioned traditional winger. Get to the byline and whip a cross in. And I just don't think that's what Ten Hag wants. He's never really given it him. And look, Irfan says Pellistri's just not that physical. And yet he's a starter for Uruguay in one of the most physical tournaments in international football, which sort of defeats that theory. For a long time, Irfan, I agreed with you. I did actually think that Pellistri, Ten Hag might think he's a bit small and not physical enough. But then he plays for Uruguay in international football, which is way more physical than what we see in the Euros. So I just think he's the style of player he is doesn't suit what Ten Hag wants. And we can digest that, we can dissect that, we can ridicule it, we can criticise it, but we have to accept it. He's never taken to Pellistri. I mean, I remember Pellistri coming on at the City ground probably 18 months ago now. And first thing he did, get to the byline, whipped a cross in, and Veghorst should have fucking scored. And he mishit it. And I was like, all game, we'd not been creating anything. Pellistri comes in, down the byline, whips a good cross in, and Veghorst should have scored, and he didn't. I like that sort of winger. Very much Kanchelskis. Get to the byline, whip a cross in, but it's not what Ten Hag's looking for. You would get it from Frimpong, Gravel, you would. He's right, you know. He's right. I love your name, Gravel. But, yeah, Pellistri's going to go, in short. I'd love to see him stay. We're not going to buy a winger by the looks of it, so I'd love Pellistri to stay. For me, I would love to have Rashford, Garnacho, Ahmad, Pellistri, and Antony, and cash in on Sancho. But obviously, it doesn't look like that's going to happen. And there'll be the thing about Pellistri, there will be a lot of clubs that want him, and I think that's a big thing. It's a bit like James Garner all over again, isn't it? I think a lot of people wanted Garner to stay, but he was an easy player to sell. Mally says, how much do you think we'd get for Pellistri? Probably 10 million. 10 million. Yeah. Naveen says, if I'm Ineos and Ronaldo makes peace with Ten Hag, I would bring him in as part of the manager's staff to change the mentality. Naveen, what the hell are you talking about? Cristiano Ronaldo is still playing football, mate, earning more money than he's ever earned. Why would he come and work as an assistant for Ten Hag on shit money? No, that's never going to happen. That's not happening. We finished 8th last season with McTominay starting as the wheelbarrow. I'm not having it that McTominay's a starter. Leonidas, thank you very much for your super chats. You're a legend. Olmo says, Mark has an issue against Rashford and Sancho. Oh, God. Boring. Sunday, isn't it? Is your life shit? What? I don't know what you're talking about. I don't have an issue against any player because time and time again. What's that song? Time and time again. Shed 7. Time and time again, I've had this conversation, and time again, I've sat people down about it. So, Olmo, I ain't going to waste my time on you. I don't know what you're talking about. And, yeah, I haven't got... apparently on YouTube, I'm on Rashford's payroll anyway, so you're on the wrong platform. As for Jadon Sancho, he's got a lot to learn and he's got a lot to prove. I have got an issue with Jadon Sancho, actually. I tell a lie. I have got an issue with Jadon Sancho. He refused to play for this football club for 3 months when we had an injury crisis because of a bloody tweet. So, yeah, I have got an issue with Sancho, and it's his issue to solve with the rest of us who've got an issue with him by, showing that he's changed. Antony got us back into the FA Cup final against Liverpool and also got one of the best assists of the season. With better players, he will shine, says Kyle. Nice to hear. And I feel like Mount's been good these 2 games. Is who to blame? Look, Mason Mount being good in pre-season means nothing. Mason Mount playing when the season starts is what matters. And also, more important, is Mason Mount being fit when the season starts. I mean, look, if he plays well in pre-season, good. But it's about what he does when the real season starts. Talking about transfers, again, it's raised its head again, so I must talk about it. Apparently, according to some stories today, Man United are in talks for Rabiot. I disagree, but, I'll go through with the story. Rabiot is in talks with Manchester United, Barcelona, Real Madrid, Manchester United, Arsenal, Manchester United, and Spurs and Manchester United. So Rabiot's in contact with and in talks with a lot of people. As Steven says, he's a bit of a bloody mercenary then, isn't he? And this is the problem with Rabiot. And this is why I don't think Man United will go anywhere near him. Because Fabrizio has done a few tweets about Rabiot and how good he is. He's now apparently talking to Barcelona, Real Madrid, Man United, Arsenal and Spurs. He's turned us down 2 years in a row because of ridiculous wages. I can't see this deal happening at all. As a player, I like him. But as Wizard said, he's twerking. I agree with G-Man. Rabiot's a good player. But the problem with Rabiot is the story that follows him. And it's all about getting the wage that he wants because he's out of contract. And this was the problem we had for the last 2 years. We wanted Rabiot because he's a good player. And it ended up not happening because he wants ridiculous wages. And I don't for 1 minute think that Man United, Arsenal, Spurs, Real Madrid and Barcelona are in talks with Rabiot. I don't think they are. Absolutely not. I don't think they are. Maybe one or two of them are, but I don't think we all are. I think he's a free agent who is looking for a move. And really, if you're going to take that punt on Rabiot, he's got to be hungry to come to your club. And I think hearing that so many clubs want him and he's taken his pick, like Man United, I just don't think Man United are going to go anywhere near it. I think the wages will be too much. And I think they'd be concerned about, just how hungry he is to play for Manchester United, or how hungry he is actually just to get a good contract. Anant says, Branthwaite is 2-footed and fit as per Athletic and played under Van Nistelrooy. I still go him over De Ligt as he can be right centre-back and also back up for left centre-back, says Anant. But you've just described De Ligt, mate. I've had this chat with people before. Like, you're acting like Branthwaite's got some secret potion that allows him to play left-sided centre-back and right-sided centre-back. De Ligt can do it. Guehi did it in the Euros. Maguire's, a lot of people say Maguire's limited as a centre-back, but he's played left-sided centre-back for England and Man United, and he's right-footed. So I don't buy into this bullshit about, Branthwaite's better than De Ligt because he could play right-sided centre-back and left-sided centre-back. He's left-footed, so if we want balance, that's probably why we wanted him. But De Ligt could easily play left-sided centre-back. Easily. Diaz does it for Man City, doesn't he? Left-sided centre-back. Van Dijk does it for Liverpool, left-sided centre-back, and he's right-footed. So, no, De Ligt's better than Branthwaite. If that's what you're trying to say in an indirect way, De Ligt's better than Branthwaite. At the moment, Branthwaite is more potential, and De Ligt is, more established. Rabiot thinks he's Ronaldo demanding those wages, says it's Salmon. All of our wingers, says James O'Sullivan, wouldn't get into a top 4 team. That's reality, Mark. Might have half a chance with Garnacho. Well, I might cause a bit of controversy here. So, Man City, who are their wingers? Doku, Grealish, Bernardo Silva. Well, I'd fancy Garnacho against any of them. Seriously, I would. I know they're good players, but I think Garnacho's a good player. Arsenal, Saka, Martinelli, Trossard. Again, I think Garnacho could start for Arsenal on the left. Liverpool, Diaz, Salah. Again, I think Garnacho could push Diaz on the left. And who finished 4th? Villa. Garnacho could start for them. Yeah. So, Noel Ryan says, don't say Rashford. No, I didn't. Rashford at his best, but, we need to see that. But Garnacho would push to start for them lot. No, maybe not all of them, but what I'm saying is you can't blank. The point was, James said, Garnacho wouldn't start for any of the top 4. Well, I think you're bullshitting. I think you're lying. I think, he would nearly start for all of them. So he's bound to start for one of them. Do you think we could ever see Ronaldo managing us, says Mally? Never say never. I don't see Ronaldo as a manager. I really don't. Thomas Frank's been talking about Ivan Toney, by the way. Basically saying that they hope that he stays at Brentford. He's got 1 year left on his contract, but they're not looking to do cheap deals. If people want to buy him, he will be expensive. Look, I can't see Man United signing Ivan Toney. I really, really can't. And I think that he will be expensive, but it would be quite an interesting scenario if Manchester United, if Ivan Toney hadn't moved by, say, the last week of August, and Brentford got a little bit tetchy. There might be a bit of a bargain there, but I don't see that. I don't see that happening. He's only got 1 year left on his contract, and if on August the 31st he's refusing to sign a contract, Brentford have got to do something. I understand why Thomas Frank's saying what he's saying, because they obviously want to generate a bit of interest, but it's all right saying Ivan Toney's really expensive, and if somebody wants him, they'll have to pay. But on August the 31st, as it hits midday, Brentford have got 12 hours to make a decision as to whether they want to keep a player and lose him for nothing in a year's time. And Brentford will be mid to low table anyway, with or without Toney. They need to cash in. I think they will. I feel like Mount's been good these 2 games. I've done that one from Who to Blame. Done that one. If we get Rabiot instead of Neves or Agate, I'd be okay, says Cody. Would be interesting to see Collier progression. Wouldn't mind seeing funds used elsewhere. Greg Beals, welcome to the members club. And James says, feeling good about this season. Let's be positive. On the off chance we win the league this year, then for all the boys, will you get your lad out? Oh, James. Done that one as well. There was something else I wanted to talk about. I've completely forgotten. Tony, Rabiot, we've done that. Antony, yes. Oh, yeah. Right back, I think, is really, really intriguing, actually. I think where Man United go at right back and left back is still a really exciting element of this transfer window, which is a story that's yet to be written. I know the reason I wanted to bring it in is because I think there's a lot of people who are like really concerned about the left back situation, but I think that concern is only because we don't know who it is. We will be signing a left back because we have to sign a left back, and if Wan-Bissaka goes, we will have to buy a right back as well. So I think that it is really, really exciting, and look, I still, if you give him, if I'm picking left back and right back, then I'm going to go with Gutierrez and Frimpong, because I still think there's a situation where people don't understand the way that we want to play. If we get our centre backs right, we will be playing right on the halfway line, and our full backs will almost be like wingers. So I would love to see Frimpong on that right hand side. I think he's also capable of playing as a right winger as well. But look, I think left back and right back are really, really interesting, and we will certainly be doing it. Yeah, what was that? Just having a quick look at any other news coming out. Look, I tried tonight to avoid certain conversations because I think they've become a little bit boring. But on our next transfer, Agate, it's so obvious it's going to be Agate. Like, if you know, it is a Sunday night, so I get it. And the next signing will be Agate. It's the deal that we're working on the most. I genuinely do believe that there is something going on with George Mendes that helps everybody. And I really do think that Manchester United could well get that deal done by Wednesday, as I've always said. De Ligt feels to me like it could happen at any point, but on the other hand, I don't think United are really rushing that one as much as you might do. Marseille's low-key building a good team, apparently. Sorry, I got sent something else there. I was just double-checking it. Abdul says Casemiro can retire this summer. I mean, I don't think he will retire this summer. I don't know where you're getting that from. If Casemiro retired this summer, he'd be walking up. Nah, why would you retire? No, Casemiro loves football, mate. And he's on 300 grand a week with 3 years left on his deal. You're not going to retire and walk away from that. Hi, Mark. Been on holiday for a week in Dubai. Loke missed you and the show, of course, missed you the most, says Ahmed. Why don't you put it on? If you're on bloody holiday, have you not got internet in Dubai? Come on. You can't move for Wi-Fi in bloody Dubai. What, if you're on holiday, you could have watched it. Anyway, I hope you had a good one. I said Garnacho with half a chance and not no chance. Read it properly, Mark, says James. Mate, half a chance in my vocabulary means not much of a chance. I'm telling you, you're wrong, James. You can come back all you like, but when you said none of our wingers start for a top 4 team, Garnacho's got half a chance. He's got more than half a chance. Half a chance is 50-50. I'm telling you now, you're wrong. Sit down. Like you know, James, it's actually quite good that you called James, because there was a band called James who wrote a very good song called Sit Down. Go and listen to that song. In fact, Alexa, play James sit down for James so he can sit down. Stop arguing for an argument you've already lost. You're already lost, mate. You said none of our wingers will start for the top four. Garnacho, half a chance. He's not half a fucking chance. He'd start for Villa. Wrong answer, you've lost. He'd definitely start for Villa, and I think he'd start for Arsenal. I also think he'd start for Liverpool, and I also think he'd start for Man City. But he'll definitely start for Villa. So, wrong answer, James. Sit down. Half a chance that Garnacho starts for Villa, Liverpool, Arsenal, and Man City. Piss off. You're talking out your arse. I don't think people actually get how good Garnacho is, by the way. He's 19 and he's been a starter for Man United pretty much for the last 18 months. I mean, have people forgotten about Everton? He's a bloody good player and he would start for Aston Villa. I tell you now, he would 100% start for Aston Villa. What's Ahmad worth? At least 40, says Coy Reen. I don't want to see Ahmad going, but I think if United sold him, they'd probably sell him for 30. Doubt Bruno gets another deal at United, says SG. And thank you very much for that. In my opinion, Rabiot is overrated, says Spray. Do you believe that he is worth 200k a week? I think Rabiot is a good player. I don't think he's worth 200 grand a week. No, I really, really don't. But yeah, going back to what I was saying, it is Sunday. Reese says, calm down, it's Sunday, Mark. Yeah, I'm getting a bit lost here. Going back to what I was saying, though, Agate will be United's next signing. And I think it'll happen by Wednesday because I don't really think there's any reason to hold it up now. PSG will want to crack on with what they're doing. Agate wants to come to Man United. I can see that deal happening. I would like to. You know what I would like to see? Just looking ahead to the week ahead, I would like to see a twist. Not with Agate, but I would like to see a twist. You know, whether it's another left-sided centre back, whether it's who the left back's going to be, whether we're going for another midfielder as well. I would like to see another twist because it has been really exciting the last couple of weeks. Well, last 4 weeks, really. So I would like to see another name come into the frame. But I think Agate will be the next player. I still think De Ligt will happen as well. I'd like to see some players go. I know Greenwood's gone, but I would like to see some players heading out the door as well. But it is a really slow transfer market. I was talking about this on That's Football. I said, what's going on? Like, we're doing business. The rest of the Premier League is so dead. The transfer window, I mean, I don't want to panic people, but if this carries on, this will be the worst Premier League transfer window in years. It's really, really slow. There's not a lot of money around and people aren't doing a lot of business. And considering Liverpool have got a new manager, you know, and they've had that new manager for 2 months, where's his new signings? You know, considering Arsenal are still quite far behind Man City, where are their signings? Like, considering Spurs and Villa have both got European football, Champions League football for Villa, there's just a lot going on. There's not a lot going on, and that could be problematic for United to sell players. We'll have to wait and see. Great show, learning a lot about football. Respect from New York City, says Bernard. Big shout out wherever you're watching. Let us know in the chat where you're watching from as well. Paul Lucas says FFPFX it. Well, the podcast is back tomorrow, not talking about Euros shit. And it's one of the topics we're going to be talking about on the podcast, which is out tomorrow, actually. So, yeah, get involved in that. I've got a few theories about it. But what I will say is if the Premier League's financial restrictions are causing the transfer window to go like this, then it's bad news. It's bad news because, you know, it's diluting the quality of football again. By any chance, did you watch the All-Ireland hurling file on the BBC? If not, I urge you to rewatch it if you get a chance. I would have watched it, Shane B, but I was too busy doing something else. But I saw it was advertised. James Downey, thank you very much for your super chat. And all our team will be playing top 4 this season, says Nathan. Yeah, I agree. Chicago, Dublin, Lake District. Got people watching all over the place here, which is absolutely fantastic. Don't forget, we're sponsored by Manscaped, by the way. 20% off, free worldwide shipping. Absolutely fantastic. When I went on holiday, I didn't want to watch the shows because absence makes the heart grow fonder, and I'm watching from guitar, says Ahmad. There we go. Thank you very much. He wanted a complete break on holiday, which was good. Let's just go into some of your comments. Edison to Liverpool. Why would you do that when you've got Alisson? A lot of people watching from South Africa, which is great to see. What would you think about moving Mount on and using those funds to pursue Neves? I'd do it personally, says Cyber Spider. Well, look, it's the end of the show area. If somebody came in and offered you £40 million for Mason Mount, would you do the deal? Interestingly, on the poll, we've had over 10,000 votes. And do you think Mason Mount will be a success at United? 51% yes, 49% no. And that sort of typifies the problem, isn't it? Everybody's very split on whether Mason Mount can turn this around, but it's a massive, massive season for him. A lot of people would take 40 million for him. I wouldn't. I think that last season, sadly, was a complete write-off, and this season we will learn the truth. If he gets injured again, he's a flop. If he performs badly, he's a flop. If he does well, we'll always be able to say he was a good signing and he was very unlucky in his first season. So I think with Mason Mount, the story is still yet to be written. Yeah. Scott writes, watching from Westwood Ho. I've been there. It's a fantastic place. Went there a couple of years ago, North Devon, and I was in Brixham in South Devon this summer. Never been to either places before. Very, very nice parts of the world. Hi, Mark, friend. Do you think we'll get any drops tonight, Mark? Mate, look, honestly, the way the transfer window is at the moment, you just never know when you're going to next get a drop. We'll be ready to go whenever it happens, though. So make sure you smash a like and subscribe on the channel. And that reminds me as well, there's only, you won't believe this, the book is out. I can't reach it. Anybody who's pre-ordered it, you'll be getting it in the next week or so because it's coming out at the end of July. I don't know what I'm doing. It's coming out at the end of July. I'm not a big fan of the picture of me inside. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that. But other than that, very, very, very enjoyable read. But what I was going to say, oh yeah, we're doing really well at the moment in relation to pre-orders. So if you're thinking about getting the book, please pre-order it. Links in the description, or scan that QR code next to me, because we want to get in the top 10 on the Sunday Times bestsellers list. So if you're thinking about buying the book, please pre-order it. You can do it on Amazon if you're worldwide. You can get a signed copy in the UK through WH Smith, or you can order the Audible book, which I've not listened to yet, through Amazon as well. So big shout out to that. Don't forget to enter the competition. If you click the link or scan the QR code, there is a Penguin link. If you click that, you can still order the book through the Penguin link, but that's where you enter the competition. We're going to have a night at the Goldbridge Arms where we're going to invite 30 winners for an evening of drinks and chat. So really looking forward to that. Really excited about that. And also, I've been working on the Christmas the Christmas United Stand show. The Manchester show last year, 1,000 people, brilliant show. This year, I will be able to tell you where it is and what's going on. And even better than that, one of my mates, Barry Reid, who I used to live in Ireland with, has got a band. So they're going to play. We're going to have some live music at the show this year. And I've said you can play at the United Stand Christmas show as long as in the second half I'm allowed to do some songs with the band. So it's going to be an absolute cracker. Can't wait for the Christmas show. So I will actually, instead of singing Are You Hanging Up Your Stocking on the Wall, I will actually be doing some proper songs with a proper band. So really excited about that. So that's coming soon as well. Absolute legends tonight, by the way, as per usual. You've been fantastic. I've just realised that people are turning up for the 8 o'clock show when we did 7 o'clock. So you need to go back to the start. But big shout out. Gems has just dropped the link in for the book there. Centre backs for next season. We've got Martinez, Yoro, Delit, Fish, Evans, says SG. 5, yeah. I've seen wingers come through for 25 25 years, says Zani, and Garnacho is a bit crap. Oh my God. Just when I thought it was time to go, I've sat right back down. So Zani, with his super chat, has come in and said, I've seen wingers come through for the last 25 years and Garnacho is crap. Well, you're about to get absolutely devastated here because 25 years takes you back to 99. At that point, Kanchelskis had long gone. Beckham was already established. So the only winger that's come through in the last 25 years that's any good would be Cristiano Ronaldo and maybe, just maybe, Marcus Rashford. So when you say winger, that's one. You said, I've seen wingers come back through for the last 25 years and Garnacho's a bit crap. It's an idiotic comment because when you say you've seen wingers, you mean more than one. And over the last 25 years, the only decent wingers we've had come through were Cristiano Ronaldo and maybe Marcus Rashford. So instantly, Garnacho is already in the top 3 wingers of the last 25 years, which sits you and your nonsense right back down. James has got a little place for you on his lap. Sit on his lap and sit down. Alexa, play Sit Down by James, because Zanny wants to sit down as well. You mega prat. You mega prat. I feel we need a Garte and another 6. We will still look to open. If we get a Garte, great buy. But an injury we're in crisis. Is Collier ready, says Free Immortal. I think Collier will be ready yet. I think he will. For anybody who's saying Nani and Valencia, no, not better than Garnacho. Good players on their day, but not better than Garnacho. No way. No way. No way. No way. No, Beckham didn't come through in the last 25 years, Natasha. 1999 was 25 years ago. Beckham was established. He didn't come through. Giggs didn't come through in the last 25 years. Fucking hell. Don't sit down with Zanny, you twats. Just call him a twat. Leave it. Don't start bloody sitting down with him with your idiotic comments as well. Read the bloody question. He said, I've seen wingers come through in the last 25 years. 1999 to now. Giggs, Beckham, already established in 99. Nani, Dan James, Valencia, forget about it. Forget about it. Valencia wasn't a right back, Jameson. He was a right back. He was a winger before he did his leg. Ashley Young, piss off. Anyway, I think Collier will be a good player. Ishan says McTominay can still come off the bench and score. Manager trusts him. We shouldn't sell him. He's a trustworthy player. No, fuck trust. Shove trust up your arse. So McTominay comes off the bench and scores. Who has to stay on the bench so he comes on? Mount? Ahmad? Sancho? No, he's taking up a place. No. Paid for Man United, paid for MUTV, but did not get subscriptions, says Tusha. What would you think about moving Mount on and using those funds? I've done that one from Cyber as well. Give us a shout out if you need a sound system for Christmas, says Thomas. Big shout out to Thomas. Love that. I tell you what, the show's ended really well. You're absolute legends. Don't forget to pre-order the book. Let's get into the top 10. As a community, it'll upset the mainstream. It has been Pratt o'clock, Jamie. You're right. Jack, sorry. Lovely show. We're back tomorrow at 10 o'clock as per usual. Unless anything happens tonight, we're ready to go. I'm ready for a 10 o'clock drop, so we're ready to go. Another big week, hopefully, and obviously on the tour by the end of the week. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Absolute legends. What a community. And stay safe. I'll speak to you all in a bit.